ॐ शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करभावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாவிவ சம்பிருக்தோ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே ஜகதः பிதரௌ வந்தே பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வரौ. ஸ்ரீ பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வராभ्यां நமः. कोमलं कूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं हनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरनभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं चक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशीविभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മന്യനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ടാത്തോരു രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we'll just do a quick review, I think of 23 and 41, right? Let me see. Revati, can you do one chapter and then Vasu, can you do one?
Yeah, I can do 23. I can start with 23.
Okay.
Okay. 23. ஒரு வாட்டி தான் practice பண்ணிருக்கேன். So தப்பு நான் correct பண்ணுங்க please.
No worries, yeah.
उत्तानपाद प्राते ततस्तु भगवन् अपरो हि दक्षः त्वत्सेवनां व्यदितसर्गविवृद्धिकामः आविर्बभूवित तडालसदस्तबाहुः तस्मै वरं ददिततां च वधूमसीत्नीम् तस्यात्मजा त्वयुतमीश पुनः सहस्रम् श्रीनारदस्य वचसा तव मार्गमापुः नेकत्र वास नृषये च मुमोच शापम् भक्तोत्तमस्त्रिवृषीर् अनुग्रहमेव मेने.
And the third line, naikatra, not naikatra, and then adukapram the letter sa, not cha. So naikatra vasam rishaye sa mumocha. Okay.
Okay. Naikatra vasam rishaye sa mumocha shapam भक्तोत्तमस्त्रिवृषीर् अनुग्रहमेव मेने. षष्ट्या ततो दुहितृभिस्सृजतः कुलौघान् दौहित्रसूनुरततस्य च विश्वरूपः तत्त्वत्स्तोत्रवर्मितमजा पयत् इन्द्रमाजुौ देवा त्वदीय महिमा खलु सर्व चैत्रः.
Deva in the last time, just deva is good. Okay. Okay, keep going.
देव त्वदीय महिमा खलु सर्व चैत्रः. प्राक्षूरसेन विषये किल चित्रकेतुः पुत्रा ग्रही नृपतिर् अंगिरसः प्रभावात् लब्ध्वैकपुत्रमत तत्र हते सपत्नी संगैः இந்த வார்த்தை எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுங்க. अमुह्यदवशस्तव माययासौ तं नारदस्तु सममङ्गिरसादयालुः सम्प्राप्य तावद् उपदर्श्य सुतस्य जीवं कस्यामि पुत्र इति तस्य गिरा विमोहं त्यक्त्वा त्वदर्शन विधौ नृपतिं न्ययुङ्क्त.
Third line, first word, kasyasmi. That is you just forgot. Okay, just make note of it. You can keep going, yeah.
स्तोत्रं च मन्त्रमपि नारदतोक्त लब्ध्वा तोषाय शेषवपुषो ननु ते तपस्यन् विद्याधरादिपतितां सहि सप्तरात्रे लब्ध्वा कुन्तमतिर् अन्वभजत् भवन्तं sorry तस्मै नृणा लब्धवलेन सहस्रशीर्ष्णा रूपेण भद्दनुति सिद्ध घनावृतेन
keep going, yeah.
प्रादुर्भवन्नचिरतो नुतिभिः प्रसन्नो दत्वात्म तत्त्व अनुगृह्य तिरोदधात तद्भक्तमौलिरतसोऽपि च लक्षं वर्षाणि हर्षुलमना भुवनेषु कामं सङ्गापयन् गुणगणं तव सुन्दरेभिः सङ्गातिरेकरहितो ललितं चचार.
A little small correction was so first line, first word is twad bhakta, not tad. Okay, twad. And then the third line, last word, sundaribihi.
Sundaribihi.
Yeah.
अत्यंत संग विलयाय भवत् प्रनूनः नूनं स रूप्य गिरिमाप्य महत्समाजे nishanka manka krita vallabham. No, the nishankam anka krita vallabham angajarim tam shankaram parihasan numaya bish numaya bi shape.
And the first line last when the pronoun no we changed, right? If you have pronoun naha, change it to pronoun no. Okay, first line last word. And then the
pronoun nova.
pronoun no. Okay, and then the atyanta sanga vilayaya bhavat pronoun no.
Pronoun no. Okay. Na pronoun naha na ichirke. Okay.
And then the last line, right? See, you can say it in two ways. Parihasan Umayabhisheve, but that's only if you are pausing there, right? But if you're really saying it together, it becomes Parihasan Umayabhisheve. It flows continuously. So it's an in and then a nu there.
Correct.
Right? So if you, as much as possible, you can try to say it together. Tam Shankaram Parihasan Umayabhisheve.
Okay.
Chepe.
Tam Shankaram Parihasan Numayabhishepe.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I'll practice that. Nisambhramastvayamaya chita shapamoksho vritrasu ratvam upagamya surendra yodhi bhaktyat matatva katanai samare vichitram shatrorapi brahmanapasya gataf padam te. Tapada sonena?
Brahmama and the last in Brahmama.
Okay. Yeah. Shatrorapi brahmanapasya gataf padam te tvatsena dhiti rindrava dhodyatapi tan pratyutendra sudrudho maruto bilebhe dushtashayepi shubhadaiva bhavannisheva tattadrishastvamava mam pavanalayesha.
And the first line, first word, Twat Sevanena. You got that right. Twat Sevanena Ditir Indra.
Okay. Twat Sevanena Ditirindra Dotyatapi. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. And then the last line, and the very word are getting there. Tattadrishas Twam Ava. Twam Ava. Twam Ava.
Twam Avan solite, no?
I think something you said different. Anyway, the Twam Ava. That's it. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead, everything.
भूतनात् एकदाहः कृष्णलालन आह्लादश वर्णना व्रजेश्वरः सौरिवशो निशम्य समाव्रजन्नत्वनीपीतसेताः निस्पृष्टनिश्चेष तरुं निरीक्ष्य कञ्चित् पदार्थं शरणं गतस्त्वां निशम्य गोपी वचनातु तन्तं सर्वेऽपि गोपा भयविस्मयान्ताः त्वत्पादितं घोरपिशाचदेहं देहुर्विदूरेत कुठारकृत्तं त्वत्पीडभूतस्तनतच्चरीरात् समुच्चलन्नुच्चतरो हि धूमः संकामधाता करवः किमेषः किं शान्तनो कौल्कुलवोदवेदी.
The third line and the Garavaha and the ich sound on the Garavah Kimesha. Okay.
Okay. मदङ्गसङ्कस्य बलं न दूरे क्षणेन तावत् भवतामपि स्यात् इत्युल्लपन् वल्लभतल्लजेभ्यः त्वं पूतनाममदनुताशुगन्तिं
Anga, you put an extra ma there. Tvam putanam atanuta sugandhim.
Tanuta. Okay.
Atanuta long.
Adanuta. Okay. Chitram Pishastya Nahatah Kumaraha Chitram Puraivakati Shaurinetam Iti Prasamsan Kilagopalo Loko Lokaha
Gopaloko.
Loko. Okay. Iti Prasamsan Kilagopaloko Bhavan Mukalo Karasenyamangshit Dine Dineta Pradivrattalakshmihi अक्षीणमाङ्कल्यसखो व्रजोऽयं भवन्निवास तैवासुदेव प्रमोदसान्त्र परितो विरेजे गृहेषु ते कोमलरूपः समितः मिथः कथा सङ्कुलिता कमन्यः वृत्तेषु कृत्येषु भवन्निरीशा समागतः प्रत्यह मध्यनन्दन् अहो कुमारो मयि तत्तदृष्टिः स्मितं कृतं मां प्रतिवत्सकेन एह्येहि मामित्युपसार्य पाणि त्वयीश किं न कृतं वतूभिः भवत्वबुस्सभर्सन कौतुकेन करात्करं कोपवतु जनेन नीतस्त्वतां परसरोजमाला व्यालं पिलोलं बतुलामलासीः
And this third line, first part. Neetastvam atamra. Neetastvam atamra.
नीतस्त्वमातां प्रसरोजमाला व्यालं पिलोलं बतुलामलासीः निपाययन्ति स्तनमङ्गहं त्वां विलोकयन्ति वदनं हसन्ति दशां यशोदा गतमान्तबेजे सतादृशः पाहि हरे कधान्माम् श्रीकृष्णाय परमात्मने नमः.
Yeah, good. Right. So let's continue with 42. Right. I think we finished up to 4 stanzas. So we'll start with the 5th stanza today. Kaskon. Sorry. Let me just check. So first half. Anandji, you can be a student, and Shobha, you can be a student. Okay. So stanza 5. कस्को कौतस्कुत एष विस्मयो विशङ्कटं यच्छकटं विपाटितं न कारणं किञ्चिदिहेति ते स्थिताः स्वनासिका दत्तकरास्त्वधीक्षकाः. So what happened so far, right, is like when the age came 3.5 months, when 4 months, I think, when Krishna began to turn over. So one day Yashoda had put him there and left, and then they had invited all the priests to do some function for that ceremony. And then she had left some boys to take care of Krishna. So at that time Krishna then woke up, and then he was probably beginning to feel hungry. So he was kicking his feet. So when that happens, there was a cart out there, and that cart got shattered to pieces. So when that happened, the loud noise came, and all the vessels that were kept on the cart, everything got thrown around, and the cart became to pieces. So first Yashoda and everybody comes running, and then they find Krishna, and Yashoda left. So that's what had happened so far. So here, when this happens, then of course next Nanda and everybody else also keeps coming running here and saying, how was this, what has happened, because they're suddenly hearing this loud noise. So even they all rush, all the priests and everybody who have gathered also rush there. And when they come there, they see everything has been scattered into pieces. But then they were happy to see that Krishna was now held by Yashoda. So they felt that he's safe and nothing has happened to him. So Kasko nu kautas kuta esha vismayo, comma, vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam na karanam kinchidi heti. Kinchid iheti. So you can't break it. So kinchidi heti te stitaha, comma, swa nasika datta karas twadikshakaha. So it's the last line is saying, so everybody's like surprised how this happened. So they're keeping, so nasika, they're all keeping their hand on their finger on their nose, kind of just imagining how did this happen? There's no reason this could have happened that this suddenly this cart has got shattered into pieces out of the blue, right? Kasko nu kautas kuta esha vismayo vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam na karanam kinchidiheti te stitaha swanasika dattakarastvadikshakaha.
Kasko nu kaudas kudayeksha vismayo vishankatam chechakatam vipatitam na karanam kinchiti hedite stitaha sonasika dattakarastvadikshakaha. Kasko nu kaudas kudayeksha vismayo vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam na karanam kinchiti hedite sitaha sonasika dattakarastvadikshakaha.
Kasko nu kaudas kudayesha vishmayo vishankadam yachakadam vipaditam nakaranam kinchiti hedite stitaha svanasika dattakara swadikshakaha. Kasko nu kaudas kudayesha vismayo vishankadam yachakadam vipaditam nakaranam kinchiti hedite sitaha svanasika dattakara swadikshakaha.
Stanza 6. कुमारकस्यास्य पयोधरार्थिनः प्ररोदने लोलपदाम्बुजाहतं मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इतीशते पालकबालका जगुः. So and everybody's wondering what has happened, and they're sitting and saying there's no way this could have happened. So like we said, there were a bunch of boys who were then taking care of Krishna there. So these Gopa boys say, hey, we'll tell you, we saw this happen. He said, we were there, the baby was sleeping, the baby then woke up, and then it was probably hungry, it started crying, and it just kicked its feet. And then here, the Lola Padambujahatam, lotus like feet, when it just touched the cart, the entire cart then flew and it got shattered to pieces, and all the things got broken away. And we all saw that. All the boys who were assembled there are telling the Nanda and everyone else. Kumara Kasyasya Bhayo Dhararthinaha, Prarodane Lola Padambujahatam Maya Drishtamano Viparyagath. So the D that you have there, first you break it into it, Viparyagath, next line it becomes E. Itisha te palaka balaka jaguhu. Kumarakasyasya payodhararthinah prarodane lolapadambujahatam maya drishtamano viparyagat itishate palaka balaka jaguhu.
कुमारकस्यास्य पयोधरार्थिनः प्ररोदने लोलपदाम्बुजाहतम् मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इदीशते पालकबालका जगुः. कुमारकस्यास्य पयोधरार्थिनः प्ररोदने लोलपदाम्बुजाहतम् मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इदीशते पालकबालका जगुः.
कुमारकस्यास्य पयोदरार्तिनः प्ररोदने लोलपदां भुजाहतं मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इदीशते बालका जगुः. कुमारकस्यास्य पयोदरार्तिनः प्ररोदने लोलपदां भुजाहतं मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इदीशते बालका जगुः.
Stanza 7. भिया तदा किञ्चिदजानतामिदं कुमारकाणाम् अतिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवाशङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः. So there was a set of course, nobody there knew about the infinite strength of Krishna and about who he is. So according to them, he's still a small baby. So majority of them dismissed it, saying that, you know what, it's the boys, right? The young boys, they are just frightened. They just suddenly saw this cart breaking, and then they saw Krishna nearby. And now they're putting one and one together and say that Krishna is the one who kicked it, which is not feasible. So a lot of them dismiss it. But then Bhattaripad also says there are, however, some small set of people who were then beginning to wonder that, look, this is not the first time. This also happened with Putana, right? We know previously Putana came and such a big Rakshasi came, and then Krishna disappeared and he landed and everything was fine and nothing happened to him. But Putana died and all the trees and everything were crushed. So there were some of them who were maybe wondering what is happening and if this is a trend, right? But majority of them are dismissing it, saying it's just a small child and all these boys were just frightened. Diya tada kinchid ajanatam idam. If you want to break it, but you can say it together. Kinchid janatam idam, comma. Kumara kanam ati durgatam vachaha. Bhavat prabhava vidurair itiritam. If you want to break it. Bhavat prabhava vidurair itiritam, comma. Managi vashankyata. That's one word. Managi vashankyata drishta putanaihi.
ராஜேஷ் எனக்கு இந்த புக்ல வந்து விதூர தான் கொடுத்தாரு. விதூரா சொல்லணுமா?
எந்த லைன்?
இந்த செவன்த் தானே பண்றோம். செவன்த்ல தேர்ட் வந்து பவத் பிரபாவா விதுர விதுரைன்னு சொல்லணும் இல்லையா? அது
விதுரை ரிதீரிதம் இருக்கு.
ஓகே 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 சரி.
விதுரை ரிதீரிதம் is there. You can either say விதுரை ரிதீரிதம் together or விதுரைர் இதீரிதம் if you're not able to say it.
ஓகே சரி, ப்ராப்ளம் சால்வ்.
भिया तदा किञ्चिदजानतामिदं कुमारकानाम् अतिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवाशङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः.
धिया तदा किञ्चित् जानतामितं कुमारकाणामधिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनाग्यवाशङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः. धिया तदा किञ्चित् जानतामितं कुमारकाणामधिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवाशङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः.
भिया तदा किञ्चित् जानतामिदं कुमारकाणाम् अधिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवाशङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः. भिया तदा किञ्चित् जानतामिदं कुमारकाणाम् अतिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवाशङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः.
Stanza 8. प्रवालताम्रं किमिदं पदं क्षतं सरोजरम्यौ नुखरौ विरोचितौ इति प्रसर्पत्करुणातरङ्गिताः त्वदङ्गमापस्पृशुरङ्गनाजनाः. So of course all the gopikas were assembled there. Now they are like, like anything that happens when a small baby gets hurt and your love for it goes up even more. So they are saying that pravalatham means your feet, your padam, your feet, which are like very tender leaves, because it's a very 3-month-old baby, right? Tender leaves like feet. And saroja is a lotus flower. So your hand, which is as beautiful as a lotus flower, how did this baby now get hurt? Hope nothing has happened to this baby. Similarly, all these gopikas lifted you, and their affection towards you increased even more, because they felt that you somehow survived all these accidents, and then they anganajanaha, and then they hugged you, and with a lot of affection. Pravala tamram kimidam padam kshatam, comma Saroja Ramyau nu Karau Virojitau iti Prasarpat Karuna Tarangitaha. That is there, remove it, Visarga and a comma, Tarangitaha. So the next word, I'm going to break it into 3. You can break it that way or say it together. Twadangam Apasprishur Anganajanaha. If you want to break it, or you can say it together as well. प्रवालताम्रं किमिदं पदं क्षतं सरोजरम्यौ नुकरौ विरोजितौ इति प्रसर्पत्करुणातरङ्गिताः त्वदङ्गमापस्पृशुरङ्गनाजनाः.
Just say, what is that last line? What does that mean? Todangama Paspurashirangana.
Yeah, so Tvad Angam is your body, limbs or body parts, Tvad Angam. So then Sprishu means just to stroke, like to massage or to press it or like massage it out. That's what that is saying. And Angana Janaha means Angana Jana, the women people, the Gopikas.
Oh.
So the Gopikas, Angana Janaha, Tvad Angam, your body, they just stroked your body or massaged or just hugged, any of that. You could take it in any way you want.
Thank you. प्रवालताम्रं किमिदं पदं क्षतं सरोजरम्योऽनुकरो विरोजितो इति प्रसर्पत्करुणातरङ्गिताः तदङ्गमापस्पृशुरङ्गनाजनाः. प्रवालताम्रं किमिदं पदं क्षतं सरोजरम्योऽनुकरो विरोजितो इति प्रसर्पत्करुणातरङ्गिताः तदङ्गमापस्पृशुरङ्गनाजनाः.
The last sprushuranganajanaha.
My book, it's a prasana. Prushuranganajanaha.
प्रवालताम्रं किमिदं पदं क्षतं सरोजरम्यौनुकरो विरोजितौ इति प्रसर्पत्करुणातरङ्गिताः त्वदङ्कमापस्पृशुरङ्गनाजनाः. प्रवालताम्रं किमिदं पदं क्षतं सरोजरम्यौनुकरो विरोजितौ इति प्रसर्पत्करुणातरङ्गिताः त्वदङ्कमापस्पृशुरङ्गनाजनाः.
अये सुतं देहि जगत्पते कृपा तरङ्गपातात् परिपातमध्यमे इति स्म सङ्गृह्य पिता त्वदङ्गकं मुहुर्मुहुश्लिष्यति जातकण्टकः. So again, this is just continuing only. So Nandagopa now takes over. So he, like as you says, he was sitting with the priest when all the ceremony was happening, when all of this happened. So now he felt like, you know what, it'll happen in a lot of these next several chapters where he feels like I just ignored him. So all this happened. So he then takes over Krishna and then he keeps Krishna with him so that nothing happens to Krishna. And then when that happens, then his Twadangam, his all of his body, he's having that horripilation all over his body when he's keeping Krishna on his lap and then sitting for these events. Aye sutam dehi jagat patehe. Put a sound, jagat pateh kripa and then put a plus. Taranga patat paripatam adhya me. So that line comes together. So he said, because of Jagat Pate, so because of because of the Lord's blessings, all of this has happened. That's why we are doing, you were right in doing this events today, this puja today. And because of that, nothing has happened to the body. He says that. So the first two lines are together. Iti sma sangrihya pita twadangakam, comma, muhur muhuhu, put a ish, muhush shlishyati jata kantakaha. अये सुतं देहि जगत्पतेः कृपा तरङ्गपातात् परिपातमध्यमे इति स्म सङ्गृह्य पिता त्वदङ्गकं मुहुर्मुहुश्लिष्यति जातकण्टकः.
अये सुदं देहि जगत्पदे कृपा तरङ्गपादात् परिपादमध्यमे इति स्म सङ्गृह्य पिता त्वदङ्गकं मुहुर्मुहुश्लिष्यति जातकण्टकः. अये सुदं देहि जगत्पदे कृपा तरङ्गपादात् परिपादमध्यमे इति स्म सङ्गृह्य पिता त्वदङ्गकं मुहुर्मुहुश्लिष्यति जातकण्टकः.
अये सुतं देहि जगत्पदे कृपा तरङ्गपादात् परिपादमध्यमे इति स्म सङ्गृह्य पिता त्वदङ्गकं मुहुर्मुहुश्लिष्यति जातकण्टकः. अये सुतं देहि जगत्पदे कृपा तरङ्गपादात् परिपादमध्यमे इति स्म संगृह्य पिता त्वतङ्गकं मुहुर्मुहुश्लिष्यत जातकण्टकः
श्लिष्यति.
दृश्यति जातकण्टकः.
Stanza 10. अनो निलीनः किल हन्तुमागतः सुरारिरेवं भवता विहिंसितः रजोऽपि नो दृष्टममुष्य तत्कथं स शुद्धसत्त्वे त्वयि लीनवान् ध्रुवम्. See, Bhattripad is just asking, how come in this case that Asura who then got killed, that Sakatasura who came in the form of a cart, how come his body did not come out? Like now, the cart got shattered and everything, but how come he didn't come out? And Bhattripad himself is answering it, saying that what happened the moment the Lord's feet touched him, then he then became, that Asura became pure Sattva Guna, right? He was filled with Rajas and he completely became filled with Sattva Guna, because of which he must have probably merged into the Lord directly, because of which his body did not come out. He's just answering that. Ano nilinaha, is there put a ich sound, nilinah kila hantumagataha, comma, surari revam bhavata vihimsitaha rajopi no drishtamamushya, or drishtamamushya together, tat katham, comma, sa shuddha sattve tvayi leenavan dhruvam. अनो निलीनः किल हन्तुमागतः सुरारिरेवं भवता विहिंसितः रजोऽपि नो दृष्टममुष्य तत्कथं सशुद्धसत्त्वे त्वयि लीनवान् ध्रुवम्.
अयो निलीनः किल हन्तुमागतः सुरारिरेवं भवता विहिंसतः रजोऽपि नो दृष्टममुष्य तत्कथं सशुद्धसत्त्वे त्वयि लीनवान् ध्रुवम्.
Anji, that second line, last word, vihimsitaha. Okay.
Which one?
Second, surarirevam bhavata vihimsitaha. I think you said viham or something. Vihimsitaha.
Oh, okay. Ano nilina kila hantumagatah surarirevam bhavata vihimsitah rajobino drishtamumushya tatkadham sashuddha sattve त्वयि लीनवान् ध्रुवम्.
अनो निलीनः किल हन्तुमागतः सुरारिरेवं भवता विहिंसितः रजोऽपि नो दृष्टमुमुष्य तत्कथं सशुद्धसत्त्वे त्वयि लीनवान् ध्रुवम्. अनो निलीनः किल हन्तुमागतः सुरारिरेवं भवता विहिंसितः रजोऽपि नो दृष्टमुमुष्य तत्कथं सशुद्धसत्त्वे त्वयि लीनवान् ध्रुवम्.
Shobhan, third line, drishtam amushya. I think you said drishtam mumushya, you said. Drishtam amushya.
I got it right. Yeah. Rajopi no drishtama mushyata tam tatkadam.
Yeah, that's correct. Stanza 11. प्रपूजितैस्तत्र ततो द्विजाधिभिः विशेषतो लम्भितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुजां जहीहि मे. So then all the priests who had gathered there, they finished whatever they're supposed to do, and then they blessed you, right, with all the, so hoping that nothing else happens, and then they were also honored. So this way, your bhalya rasai, your various activities and deeds that you did as a small child, as a bhalya, all the Braja, people of Braja, who are the Braja Bhumi, is referring to essentially Gokul, Vrindavan, all that area. So they all enjoyed it. They all enjoyed all the childhood activities that you performed. O Marutpura Disha, please remove all the sufferings I have. So, prapujitais tatra tato dvijadibihi, that ir that is there, remove it, put a visarga and a comma. So dvijadibihi, like I said before, is one who's twice born. One who's twice born means Brahmins. When you do the Upanayanam, you're supposed to be born for the second time in your life, the same life. So, dvijadibihi, comma. Visheshato.
Dvijadibihi or tibihi?
Tibihi, dvijatibihi. Tibihi. Visheshato lambhita mangalashishaha vrajam nijair balya rasair vimohayan, comma, marutpuradhisha rujam jahihi me. प्रपूजितैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्भितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुजां जहीहि मे.
प्रपूजितैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुजां जहीहि मे. प्रपूजितैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुजां जहीहि मे.
प्रभुजिदैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुजां जहीहि मे. प्रभुजिदैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुदां जहीहि मे.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha.
कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः.
Okay, we'll continue now with chapter 43. Chapter Trinavarta Vadha Varnanam. Trinavarta, that's the next. So all this comes in the same, in the Dasama Skandam, of course, everything of Krishna Avataram is in the Dasama Skandam. In the same chapter also. So essentially, this Parikshit is asking Sukha Brahman, you tell me few incidents of Krishna's Leela, right, that they happened when he was a small child. So that's when he goes on to tell. So all of this kind of comes in the same chapter, just kind of a continuation only. So stanza 1. त्वामेकधा गुरुमरुत्पुरनाथ वोढुं गाढाधिरूढगरिमानमपारयन्ती माता निधाय शयने किमिदं बतेति ध्यायन्त्यचेष्टतगृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का. So this, after a few months, right? So I think kind of like about an year is passing, something like that. So one day Yashoda was having Krishna on her lap, and like very regular, and she was holding him in his lap, and suddenly she felt like his weight has increased. Now a mother will never say that my child has put on weight, but somehow Yashoda felt like my child has gained weight all of a sudden, and she knows it is like this was not yesterday, but today I'm feeling like that he's suddenly become very heavy. So then, as a mother, now given all the incidents that has happened with Putana and Sakatasura, she's beginning to get worried that has something wrong going to happen. Is it like the influence of some demon or a ghost or something because of which she's not able to bear his weight all of a sudden. So what she does is she puts him on the floor and then she starts praying to you. She says, but it says she prays to you for your own welfare, hoping that nothing happens to you, right? And then she then goes and tells Nanda and says, I think we should, it's been about a year, we should probably call some people to come for some blessings because I find something is very unusual today. So, Twamekada Guru Marut Pura Natha Vodhum, Gadhadi Rudha Garimanam Aparayanti. If you want to break it, you can break Garimanam Aparayanti. Mata Nidhaya Shayane Kimidam Bateti, Dhyayantya Cheshtata. That it can be one word. Dhyayantya Cheshtata Griheshu Nivishta Shanka. त्वामेकधा गुरुमरुत्पुरनाथ वोढुं गाढाधिरूढगरिमानमपारयन्ती माता निधाय शयने किमिदं बतेति ध्यायन्त्यचेष्टतगृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का.
त्वामेकधा गुरुमरुत्पुरनाथ वोढुं गाढाधिरूढगरिमाणमपारयन्ती माता निधाय शयने किमिदं वदेति ध्यायन्त्यचेष्टतगृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का. त्वामेकधा गुरुमरुत्पुरनाथ वोढुं गाढाधिरूढगरिमाणमपारयन्ती माता निधाय शयने किमिदं वदेति ध्यायन्त्यचेष्टतगृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का.
त्वामेकदा गुरुमरुत्पुरनाथ वोढुं गाढाधिरूढगरिमाणमपारयन्ति माता निधाय शयने किमिदं पबदेदि ध्यानन्द्य चेष्टत गृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का त्वामे गदा पुरनादवोढुं गाढादिरूढ गरिमाणमपारयन्ति माता निधाय शयने किमिदं पदेदि ध्यानन्द्य चेष्टत गृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का.
Shobhan, the last line, first word. Dhyayantya. Dhyayantya cheshtata.
ध्यानन्त्य சொல்லிருக்கேன். Thank you.
Dhyanam, thinking about the Lord. So Dhyayantya. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, next.
Stanza 2. तावद्विदूरम् उपकर्णितघोरघोषव्याजृम्बिपांसु पटली परिपूरिताशः बात्या वपुः स किल दैत्यवरस्तृणावर्ताख्यो जहार जनमानसहारिणं त्वाम्. So at the time, there's one of this other Kamsas, like Putana, Bhakasura, all those people. There's a person called Trinavarta. So all of these people had the capability to disguise themselves as anything they want. So this Trinavarta is now coming in the form of a whirlwind, like like a twister, right? That we see, like a tornado, kind of in that form. So he's coming, and when he's now approaching this area itself, it's creating a lot of noise, and there's dust getting spoon all over, and the entire place now gets completely dark. So it gets very dark, and then what he does is this tornado comes and the twister comes and it takes you away. So it's you here, Bhattarpadi says who is Janamanasa Harinam, you who takes away the heart of people, you steal away the heart of people. This Trinavarta now comes and steals you away into the wind, and there's entire darkness everywhere. Tavat Vidhuram Upakarnita Ghora Ghosha, put a plus. So Ghora Ghosha means like loud noise coming there. Ghora Ghosha Byajrumbhi Pamsu Patali Paripuritashaha. So those two lines are together. Vatya Vapus Sa Kila Daitya Varas. Then put a plus at the end of that line, because you probably have Trinava in the first line, in the third line, and then Tarkyo in the fourth line. So you kind of say that 3 and 4 together. So Trinavartakyo, Trinavartha, right? That's the name. So Trinavartakyo Jahara Janamanasa Harinam Twam. So 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4 together. तावद्विधूरम् उपकर्णितघोरघोषव्याजृम्बिपांसु पटली परिपूरिताशः बात्या वपुः स किल दैत्यवरस्तृणावर्ताख्यो जहार जनमानसहारिणं त्वाम्.
तावत् विदूरमुपकर्णितघोरघोषव्याघ्रं विपांसु पटली परिपूरिताशः वात्या वपुः स किल दैत्यवरस्तृणावर्त्याख्यो जहार जनमानसहारिणं त्वाम्. तावत् विदूरमुपकर्णितघोर. Did I make a mistake?
No, nothing. I don't know. There's some noise. I don't know.
तावद्विदूरमुपकर्णितघोरघोषव्याघ्रं विपांसु पटली परिपूरिताशः वात्या वपुः स किल दैत्यवरस्तृणावर्त्याख्यो जहार जनमानसहारिणं त्वाम्.
That fourth line beginning, Trina, I heard it as Tyakyo. I heard a ya sound there. Is Trinavartakyo. Thakyo.
Trinavartakyo.
Yeah, correct.
तावत् विदूरम् उपकर्णित घोर घोष व्याजृम्बिपांसु पडली परिपूरिदासः वाद्यावपु सकिल दैत्यवर तृणावर्ताख्यो जहार जनमानस हारिणं त्वाम्. तावत् विदूरम् उपकर्णित घोर घोष व्याजृम्बिपांसु पडली परिपूरिदाशः वाद्यावु सकिल दैत्यवर तृणावर्ताख्यो जहार जनमानस हारिणं त्वाम्.
Stanza 3. उद्धामपांसु तिमिराहत दृष्टिपाते द्रष्टुं किमप्यकुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति त्वदुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोध. So because of this wind, and we also see that, right, sometimes when it gets very dark outside. So it was also, first of all, there is a loud noise, ghora ghosha, terrific noise that is happening. It gets extremely dark outside, and there's also dust flying everywhere, right? Pieces of wood and trees and everything flying everywhere. So when that happens, of course, the Gopikas, they could not see anything. Their vision had become completely blinded or blurred, and they all were running around, kind of, completely lost because they could not see anything. So at that time, only Yashoda knew where she had left Krishna. Even she could not see anything that is happening inside the house, but she at least knew where Krishna was. So then immediately her first thought was, when this happened, is what has happened to Krishna, because she left him there. So she then rushes towards him, Ruroda, crying out loudly or screaming loudly as to Ha Balakasya Kimiti, what has happened to my child? So she keeps screaming and then she keeps rushing towards Krishna, knowing where she had left him. Uddama Pamsu Timirahata Drishti Pate, comma, Drashtum Kimapya Kushale Pashupala Loke Ha Balakasya Kimiti Tvad Upantam Apta. If you want to break it, or you can say it together, Tvad Upantam Apta, comma, Mata Bhavantam Avilokya Brisham Ruroda. उद्धामपांसुतिमिराहतदृष्टिपाथे द्रष्टुं किमप्यकुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति त्वदुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोध.
उद्धामपांसुतिमिराहतदृष्टिपाते द्रष्टुं किमप्यकुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति तदुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोध.
The second line, Anandji, drashtum. Second line, first word, drashtum.
Drashtum. Thank you, Rajesh. उद्धामपांसुतिमिराहतदृष्टिपादे द्रष्टुं किमप्यकुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति दतुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमवलोक्य भृशं रुरोध.
The last line, Bhavantam Avilokya.
माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोध.
ராஜேஷ் என்னோடத்துல திருஷ்டம்னு தானே கொடுத்திருக்கு, திருஷ்டும்னு கொடுத்திருக்கு செகண்ட் லைன், அது மாத்தணுமா?
Drashtum.
நோ திரு.
ஆமா, not dru. First line is drishti pate. First line.
Okay. उद्दामपांसु तिमिराहत दृष्टिपादे द्रष्टुं किमप्य कुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति त्वदुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोध. उद्दामपांसु तिमिराहत दृष्टिपादे द्रष्टुं किमप्य कुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति त्वदुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोध.
Rajesh, your quick question. Right? Probably this is a stupid question too. So on the first, probably Yashoda's running to Krishna's bed. Alarinoone, oh, kannu patratho nenikralo.
I mean, she thinks first. You mean the first stanza, what I was telling her. I mean, see, the thing is, right, the bad things start happen, then you start imagining all kinds of possibilities, right? So she then first Putana comes, and all these things happen, and then somehow Krishna survives, and then the Sakatasura cart incident happens, and all of this happens. And the first thing, and because in those days mothers were primarily taking care, right? So she feels like, something is not right, gut feeling, Mary. Right, so she thinks, she doesn't know why something may be wrong, and suddenly she finds him heavy today. So she thinks maybe something is wrong, maybe some bad omen, or it's a bad indicator, or maybe some ghost has come and possessed him. Who knows what, right? So on the Marisha, she's getting worried. That's what is happening, right? Okay, so we'll change it halfway. So Jayesh, you can be a student, and Vani Garu, you can be a student. Okay, stanza 4. तावत्सधानवरोऽपि च दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरिधारणलूनवेगः सङ्कोचमापतदनुक्षतपांसु घोषे व्यतायत भवज्जननी निनादः. So the reason, so then when Trinavarta is taking Krishna, now like you just imagine a tornado kind of a scenario, right? So it is going up in the air. So it's the tornado, the Trinavarta is taking Krishna and going up in the air. So the reason Krishna was becoming heavier today was he was prepping for this. So now when Trinavarta was taking him up, so then Krishna was becoming more and more heavier as he went up. So beyond a particular point where Trinavarta was not able to hold him. So because of that, what happens is his speed also slowed down at that point. He was not whirling that fast. So when the sound also went down because of his speed going down, all of a sudden everybody there, then people are now coming to senses. Now they are beginning to see. And they're beginning to see and they can hear, they're only hearing Yashoda scream. They're hearing Yashoda scream as to Krishna is missing. So everybody is now beginning to hear that. So Tavat sa Danava Varopi cha Dina Murtihi. So put a visarga at the end there and a comma, Murtihi. Next line, that ir goes away on top of bha. Bhavatka bhara paridharana luna vegaha. Sankochamapa thadanu shata pamsu ghoshe, comma. Ghoshe vyatayata bhavaj janani ninadaha. So in the third line, when the ghoshe is coming, that is the sound of the whirlwind itself is going down. When that sound came down, ghoshe, bhavat janani, your mother's ghoshe, the noise coming from her became louder. The people are able to hear her. Tavat sadhanavavaropi cha dhina murtihi bhavatka bhara paridharana luna vegaha संकोचमापतदनुक्षतपां सुघोषे घोषे व्यतायत भवज्जननी निनादः.
तावत्स दानववरोऽपि च दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरिधारणलूनवेगः सङ्कोचमापतदनुशतपां सुघोषे घोषे व्यतायत भवज्जननी निनादः. तावत्स दानववरोऽपि च दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरिधारणलूनवेगः सङ्कोचमापतदनुक्षतपां सुघोषे घोषे व्यतायत भवज्जननी निनादः.
तावत् सदानवपरोऽपि च दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरिधारणलूनवेगः सङ्कोचमापतदनुक्षतपांशु घोषे घोषे व्यतायत भवज्जननी निनादः. तावत् दानववपरोऽपि च
Shivani, once again. That line, Danava Varopi. You're saying Vaparopi, Danava Varopi.
Okay. Tavat दानववरोऽपि च दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरिधारणलूनवेगः सङ्कोचमापतदनुक्षतपांशु घोषे घोषे व्यतायत भवज्जननी निनादः.
Answer 5. रोधोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्दत्सु नन्दमुखगोपकुलेषु दीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वकिल मुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्यप्रमुञ्चति पपात वियत्प्रदेशात्. So now, of course, everybody is coming and everybody now comes, and then that's when they all realize, right? Yashoda is telling, okay, Krishna has gone missing. I just left Krishna here. Suddenly this tornado thing came and now Krishna is missing. So everybody is now beginning to look around as well. And everybody is also getting worried. All the Nanda and all the Gopikas, everybody is getting worried. So they are beginning to search for Krishna. So while that is happening, so the Srinavarta, now he's at a point where the Krishna's weight is becoming so heavy that he wants to get rid of Krishna, but he's not able to get rid of Krishna, right? So he's not able to either fight him and win against him, or sometimes when something is holding tight to you, you want to just get rid of it, and he was not able to get rid of him either. Krishna was just clinging very tightly to him. So when that happens, Srinavarta then realizes, what kind of a person this is, and then what happens is he eventually gives up, and then he falls down into the land. So Rodopa Karnana Vishad Upagamya, if you want to break it, or you can say it together. Sorry, Vashad. Vashad Upagamya Geham, comma. Krandatsu Nanda Mukha Gopa Kuleshu Dinaha. Twam Danavas Twakila Muktikaram Mumukshuhu. Put a visarga at the end. Mumukshuhu, comma. Next line is goes away. Tvaya pramunchati. So this is a 1/2 ya and a full ya coming. Tvaya pramunchati papata viyat pradeshat. रोधोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्दत्सु नन्दमुखगोपकुलेषु धीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वखिलमुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्यप्रमुञ्चति पपात वियत्प्रदेशात्.
रोदोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्दस्तु नन्दमुखगोपकुलेषु दीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वखिलमुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्यप्रमुञ्चति पपात वियत्प्रदेशात्. रोदोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्दस्तु नन्दमुखगोपकुलेषु दीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वखिलमुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्यप्रमुञ्चति पपात वियत्प्रदेशात्.
रोदोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्दत्सु नन्दमुखगोपकुलेषु दीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वखिलमुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्याप्य प्रमुञ्चति पपात वियत्प्रदेशात्. रोदोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्दत्सु नन्दमुखगोपकुलेषु दीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वखिलमुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्यप्रमुञ्चति पपात वियत्प्रदेशात्.
Stanza 6. रोधाकुलास्तदनु गोपगणा बहिष्टपाषाणपृष्ठभुवि देहमतिस्तविष्ठम् प्रैक्षन्त हन्त निपतन्तममुष्य वक्षयक्षीणमेव च भवन्तमलं हसन्तम्. So these Gopa Gopikas who are all now really beginning to panic, right, and wonder what is happening as they're all standing out and looking everywhere and crying, Rodha, as they were all crying. So at that time, they see some big body which is actually falling from the skies and then landing on a piece of stone which is lying outside. And so this body comes, and they haven't described how that, like Putana, they go into a description of how it is Gora, Pishacha, Deham, and all that. Here they don't say anything. They say a body lands, and then on that person, on that stone also, they then see you. Unheard. So that's why Bhattipat says Hanta. Hanta means, oh, what a wonder, right? Like we say Hanta. So in the oh, what a wonder that nothing has happened, and you are now lying on that body with a Bhavantam alam hasantam. With a smiling face, you are now sitting on that body there, and then they are able to see you, and then they feel relaxed. So Rodha Kulas Tadanu Gopa Gana Bahishta Pashana Prishtha Bhuvi Dehamatistha Vishtham. So both those lines are together, 1 and 2, you can put a plus. Praikshanta Hanta Nipatantam Amushya, if you want to break it. Nipatantam Amushya. Vaksha is there, then you put a plus there. So Vakshasyakshinameva comes together. Vakshasyakshinameva cha bhavantamalam hasantam.
திருப்பி ஒரே ஒரு வாட்டி சொல்லுங்க. வக்ஷஸ்
See, அந்த இடத்துல வந்து Vakshasi Akshinam are the two words, okay? Vakshasi and Akshinam. அது ரெண்டும் join, when it joins, it becomes Vakshasyakshinam, right? So that's why that Vaksha and Is and Ya in the next line kind of comes together, it flows. So Vakshasyakshinameva, it goes together. Okay, it's one word really. That whole thing is one word. Rodha kulhastadanu gopagana bahishthapashana prishthabhuvi dehamatisthavishtam Praikshanta hanta nipatantam vakshasya kshinameva cha bhavantamalam hasantam.
மலம் சொல்லலாமா அதுல?
Illa, bhavantam alam hasantam, if you want to really break it. Or bhavantam alam, if you say bhavantam alam together, that's okay. But if you're breaking it, it's bhavantam and alam.
रोदाकुलस्तदनुगोपगणा बहिष्टपाषाणपृष्ठभुवि देहमतिस्थविष्ठम् प्रैक्षन्त हन्त निपतन्त ममुष्य वक्षस्य क्षीणमेव च भवन्तमलं हसन्तम् रोदाकुलस्तदनुगोपगणा बहिष्टपाषाणपृष्ठभुवि देहमतिस्थविष्ठम् प्रैक्षन्त हन्त निपतन्त ममुष्य वक्षस्य क्षीणमेव च भवन्तमलं हसन्तम्.
Jayshan, the first line, first word, Roda Kulas. Okay.
Kulas tam potirukku. Thank you.
रोदाकुलास्तदनुगोपगणा बहिष्टपाषाणपृष्ठभुवि देहमतिस्तविष्टम् प्रैक्षन्त हन्त निपतन्तममुष्य वक्षस्य क्षीणमेव च भवन्तमलं हसन्तम् रोदाकुलास्तदनुगोपगणा बहिष्टपाषाणपृष्ठभुवि देहमतिस्तविष्टम् प्रैक्षन्त हन्त निपतन्तममुष्य वक्षस्य क्षीणमेव च भवन्तमलं हसन्तम्.
Bhavantam alam, not malam. Bhavantam alam is okay. I think here you ended up pausing briefly at bhavantam.
Yeah.
Right?
Bhavantam alam hasantam.
Yeah. Stanza 7. Grava prapata paripishta garishtha deha bhrashtasu dushta danujo parigdrishtahasam आज्ञानमम्बुजकरेण भवन्तमेत्य गोपाधदुर्गिरिवरादिवनीलरत्नम्. So here is the kind of talking about relative sizes. So they're saying that now when this Asura is landing and then he lands on this big piece of stone and all his limbs are now completely, it gets damaged and all that. Anyway, Asura is dead, so it all gets damaged. So now when the Gopas and Gopikas are rushing to get Krishna, so Krishna, like you said earlier also, Balam Hasantam, he's laughing. So he's now sitting there and, Drishta, with your hasam, with in a smiling way, what you're doing is you're beating. As a small child, he's a small child. So he's just beating on the Asura's chest. That's what they see Krishna doing. And then they realize that, oh, Krishna, at least nothing has happened. And then they all rush. And they say, when they go to pick him, it's as if it is Girivaradiva, as if it's in a big mountain. On top of the mountain, you have a Neela Ratnam. You have a blue or a sapphire, small Ratnam, which is blue color Ratnam, which is sitting on top of the mountain. Similarly, that's how it was. They found a large body, and then on top of that body, they found you in a dark blue or black color sitting there, and then they're going and getting you out. Grava, Prapata, Paripishta, Garishtha, Deha, and then put a plus. Brashtasu, Dushta, Danujopari, Drishta, Hasam. So a couple of places it's Dushta and then Drishta coming in the second half. Hasam. Agnanam Ambuja Karena Bhavantametya, Gopa Dhadur Girivaradiva Neela Ratnam. Grava Prapata Paripishta Garishtha Deha Bhrashtasu Dushta Danujo Paridrishtahasam Agnanamambujakarena Bhavantametya Gopa Dadhur Girivaradivanila
Grava Prapata Paripishta Garishta Deha Bhrashta Sudushta Danujo Paridrishta Hasam Agnanamambujakarena Bhavantametya Gopa Dadhur Girivaradivanila Ratnam. Grava Prapata Paripishta Garishta Deha Bhrashta Sudushta Danujo Paridrishta Hasam Agnanamambujakarena Bhavantametya Gopa Dadhur Girivaradivanila Ratnam.
Grava Prapata Paripishta Girishta Deha Brashta Sudushta Danujo दृष्टहासम् आज्ञानमम्बुजकरेण भवन्तमेत्य गोपादधुर्गिरिवरादिव नीलरत्नम् ग्रावप्रपातपरिपिष्टगिरिष्टदेहभ्रष्टासु दुष्टधनुजोपरि धृष्टहासम् आज्ञानमम्बुजकरेण भवन्तमेत्य गोपादधुर्गिरिवरादिव नीलरत्नम्.
Stanza 8.
Rajesh, ஒரே ஒரு
Ah,
question.
ah.
இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லைன்ல கிராவ பிரபாத படிபிஷ்ட கரிஷ்ட தேகன் போட்டிருக்கு. கிரிஷ்டவா கரிஷ்டவா?
Garishta only. Stanza 8. एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन् नन्दादिगोपपरिरब्धविचुम्बिताङ्गम् आधातु कामपरिशङ्कितगोपनारी हस्ताम्बुजप्रपतितं प्रणुमो भवन्तम्. Pranumo Bhavantam. I am bowing to you, right? I am praising you. You who again the same thing like it happened in Sakatasura. Everybody now Gopas, Gopikas left Krishna. They're all Nanda, and they're all extremely happy that even though such a big person has come and Krishna suddenly disappeared from here, he's completely come unscathed, right? Nothing has happened to him, and he's perfectly normal. And then they are all happy. Like it happens, everybody is lifting him, hugging him, and then he's passing on. He's moving from one person to another. They are moving him around and very happy to see him. Ekaikamāshu parigrihya nikama nanda. You put a plus, and then in the next line you will have two nas. If you have it, you put one of the in at the end of the first line. So nikama nandan, and then put a plus. Nandadi gopa parirabdha vichumbitangam. Vichumbi means to kiss. So vichumbitangam. Adatu kama parishankita gopa nari, longi nari, put a plus again. Hastambuja prapatitam pranumo bhavantam. So even here, first two lines together, third and fourth line together. एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन् नन्दादिगोपपरिरब्धविचुम्बिताङ्गम् आदातु कामपरिशङ्कितगोपनारी हस्ताम्बुजप्रपतितं प्रणुमो भवन्तम्.
एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन् नन्दादिगोप परिरब्ध विचुम्बिताङ्गम् आदातु काम परिशङ्कित गोपनारी हस्ताम्बुज प्रपतितं प्रणुमो भवन्तम्. एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन् नन्दादिगोप परिरब्ध विचुम्बिताङ्गम् आदातु काम परिशङ्कित गोपनारी हस्ताम्बुज प्रपतितं प्रणुमो भवन्तम्.
एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन् नन्दादिगोपपरिरब्ध विचुम्बिताङ्गम् आदातु कामपरिशङ्कितगोपनारी हस्ताम्बुजप्रपतितं प्रणुमो भवन्तम्. एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन् नन्दादिगोपपरिरब्ध विचुम्बिताङ्गम् आदातु कामपरिशङ्कितगोपनारी हस्ताम्बुजप्रपतितं प्रणुमो भवन्तम्.
Stanza 9. भूयोऽपि किन्नु कृणुमः प्रणतार्तिहारीं गोविन्द एव परिपालयतात् सुतं नः इत्यादि मातरपितृप्रमुखैस्तदानीं सम्प्रार्थितस्त्वदवनाय विभो त्वमेव. So then again, Nanda and everybody is saying, you know what, I think all of this is because of the good karma we must have done in our previous lives and all the good deeds we have done in this life. Because Nanda, as a head of that village, right, he's done a lot of good things, doing things for the village and everything. He says all of this and all the prayers and all the puja and everything we have done, that's what has actually come around and now made sure that nothing is actually happening to our son. And he also says, I also remember, again, the Vasudeva telling him at that point, right, that, this go back because bad omens are expected to happen. So he's thinking about all that and saying all these things. I'm glad nothing has happened and Krishna has come out of all name Krishna was not given yet at that point. That is coming in the next chapter anyways. So that nothing has happened and everything is fine. So they're all beginning to say that, and then they continue to pray to you, like it happened in the Sakatasura thing as well. They continue to pray to you to make sure that nothing happens to you. So they're praying to Narayana and hoping that nothing happens to you and you're taken care of. So this is why, if you remember in the 44th chapter, right, when Garga Muni is coming, and so Nanda Gopa is telling him that, and I'm so glad you came, because there have been so many things happening that we are worried what to do. So we are so glad that you came. So now you can at least talk about the horoscope of my son and what's going to happen. Also do all the necessary puja and make sure that these things don't repeat. Right, so that's why he's telling to Garga Muni in the 44th chapter when the Namakaranam is happening, right? And that's when they're also saying that, because he says, because if Kamsa comes to know that I'm from the Yadava clan, Garga Muni, then he'll somehow relate Vasudeva to Krishna. So that's why we have to do it in a cowshed, in a safe manner. So all of that is happening because their frame of mind is, they're really concerned now because of all these things which are happening to Krishna. But somehow they're also glad that nothing has happened to him, right? So bhuyopi kinnu krinumaha is there. Put a F. Krinumah pranatarti hari, comma. Govinda eva paripalayatat sutam naha. Ityadi matara pitru pramukhais tadanim, comma. Samprartitas tvadanaya vibho tvameva. भूयोऽपि किन्नु कृणुमः प्रणतार्तिहारी गोविन्द एव परिपालयतात् सुतं नः इत्यादि मातरपितृप्रमुखैस्तदानीं सम्प्रार्थितस्त्वदवनाय विभो त्वमेव.
भूयोऽपि किन्नु कृणुमः प्रणतार्तिहारी गोविन्द एव परिपालयतात् सुतं नः इत्यादि मातरपितृप्रमुखैस्तदानीं सम्प्रार्थितस्त्वदवनाय विभो त्वमेव. भूयोऽपि किन्नु कृणुमः प्रणतार्तिहारी गोविन्द एव परिपालयतात् सुतं नः इत्यादि मातरपितृप्रमुखैस्तदानीं सम्प्रार्थितस्त्वदवनाय विभो त्वमेव.
भूयोऽपि किन्नु कृणुमः प्रणतार्तिहारी गोविन्द एव परिपालयतात् सुतं नः इत्यादि मातरपितृमुखैस्तदानीं सम्प्रार्थितस्त्वदवनाय विभो त्वमेव. भूयोऽपि किन्नु कृणुमः प्रणतार्तिहारी गोविन्द एव परिपालयतात् सुतं नः इत्यादि मातरपितृप्रमुखैस्तदानीं सम्प्रार्थितस्त्वदवनाय विभो त्वमेव.
Last stanza. So this is it's an important stanza. So you can probably put a star or mark it and keep. If you want to share for somebody who wants to just say one stanza, right? Somebody comes and says, "Hey, I'm having this problem. What is that one stanza I can say from Narayaneeyam?" So there are certain stanzas like that which comes here and there, right? That Kalam Bodhakalaya, which you saw in the 7th chapter and all that, right? Similarly here. वातात्मकं धनुजमेव मयि प्रधून्वन् वातोद्भवान् मम गदान् किमुनो धुनोषि किं वा करोमि पुनरप्यनिलालयेश निःशेषरोगशमनं मुहुरर्तये त्वाम्. Here Bhattripad is saying that this Dhanuja, this Asura Trinavarta, who came in form of such a terrifying wind, right, like a tornado he came. So there is so much wind in there and so much gust in there that he came, and then you were able to get rid of him in such an easy way, right? You got rid of him very easily. However, you imagine my plight, he says. He says, Vatod Bhavan, I am afflicted by the Vayu, right? That's why he's having the problem, right? So he's saying, I am afflicted by Vatod Bhavan. Because of this Vayu, because of wind, I am now afflicted by this disease. However, You kimuno dunoshi. So why are you not eradicating this? This is nothing for you, right? I have very little excess vayu in my body, which is causing this. You are able to get rid of this Trinavarta who's coming from a tornado. So for you to get rid of the vayu in my body should not be a big deal. So he says, kimuno dhunoshi. Why are you still not getting rid of the disease and coming? And then kimva karomi. What else should I be doing? Right? I've been praying to you and all this. So what else should I be doing other than punarapi again? What else can I do other than pray to you again? Right, to completely get rid of all my nishesha roga shamanam, to completely get rid of all my ailments and diseases. I'll continue to pray to you again and again. Oh Vatalayesha, oh Lord of Guru. So I think this is just important. If you have Vat, if somebody is affected by, because of excess wind, Adinala, anything, this is a nice slogan to chant, because you're telling that it's not like you cannot get rid of it. You defeated person, the Asura, who came in the form of tornado, right? So वातात्मकं धनुजम् एव मयि प्रधून्वन् कॉमा वातोद्भवान् मम गदान् किमु नो धुनोषि किं वा करोमि पुनरप्य निलाल एष together one word comma निःशेष रोग शमनं मुहुरर्थये त्वाम् वातात्मकं धनुजमेव मयि प्रधून्वन् वातोद्भवान् मम गदान् किमु नो धुनोषि किं वा करोमि पुनरप्यनिलालयेष निःशेषरोगशमनं मुहुरर्थये त्वाम्
वातात्मकं धनुजमेव मयि प्रधून्वन्ने वातोद्भवान् मम गदान् किमु नो धुनोषि किं वा करोमि पुनरप्यनिलालयेष निःशेषरोगशमनं मुहुरर्थये त्वाम् वातात्मकं धनुजमेव मयि प्रधून्वन्ने वातोद्भवान् मम गदान् किमु नो धुनोषि किं वा करोमि पुनरप्यनिलालयेष निःशेषरोगशमनं मुहुरर्थये त्वाम्
वातात्मकं धनुजमेव मयि प्रधून्वन् वातोद्भवान् मम गदान् किमु नो धुनोपि
किमु नो धुनोषि
धुनोषि किं वा करोमि पुनरप्यनिलालयेष निःशेषरोगशमनं मुहुरर्थये त्वाम् वातात्मकं धनुजमेव मयि प्रधून्वन् वातोद्भवान् मम गदान् किमु नो धुनोषि किं वा करोमि पुनरप्यनिलालयेष निःशेषरोगशमनं मुहुरर्थये त्वाम्.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. We can end the class here. सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदेभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना भा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.